Hi, it's Chris from Epix again. This is the first in a series of short videos showing you how to use the mobile app to accompany the fire risk assessment module of our system. So this is the FRA side, where this first video is how to complete the survey job. So by completing the survey job, what we're doing here is we're adding penetrations to the system so that those can be sent back to the office as part of the survey. So we begin by opening up the mobile app by clicking onto the Epix logo here, and then we would log into the app, and the app will then do a dial and connect to base. Here on our places to go screen, you can see that I've got a job to do, and when I click on that job you can see that I've got a penetration job to do with one task. Now that's because there are no penetrations as yet identified for this client's site. So if we click on here to the actual job, we can see the penetration details are for the site, so there are none. So we would now accept the job by clicking here, provide our estimated travel time by either typing it or using the plus or minus buttons to do 5-minute increments, and then we would press next. Again, the system will do a dial, and we are now travelling to site. So we'd leave the phone on the en route screen until such time as we arrive on site, and when we arrive, we press the arrive button. Now if there are some site specific health and safety warnings, then those will be listed here. If there aren't any specific issues relating to the site, then you'll get the generic message, which looks a little bit like this one. Now in order to continue on your job, as you'll know if you've used the system for a normal job, you can't proceed until you have ticked to say you understand any issues that may have been listed above. So we now press next. If your system's been set up with risk assessments, you'll then see the risk assessment page pop up. So I'm going to answer the questions shown there, and then I press next. Again, the system will do a dial, and here we arrive at the on-site menu. Now the thing to notice about the on-site menu is that we have got the single task to do, which is a site job. So what you'll be doing is you'll be walking about the site, identifying the penetrations that need to be added to the survey, and for each one that you find, you need to press add job here. So if we press the add job button, we can see we need to then add a penetration job, so we click here, and this launches the add new penetration screen. So this is the screen that we'd use to add all the information regarding the penetration that you've just identified. We'll begin with the first field here, which is the alpha field. This is the reference. Now if you're using a barcode system where you stick barcode labels to any things that you identify on site, then of course you could use the barcode scanner by clicking here to launch that, and you would be able to scan the reference. Alternatively, of course, you can create your own references. So I'm just going to call this one something generic. The penetration, you've got a drop down list here. So if we click on the question mark, you get a list of available penetrations. So I'm going to select pipe for this example. The location, of course, where you've identified this. And you can then launch the camera to take a photograph of the particular penetration. So as we launch that, you may, of course, if it's the first time like me that you've used the app, you'll need to agree the permissions. So I'm just going to take a generic photo for now. We would confirm the photograph, and as you can see, you've got the option to do more than one photograph if need be. If we scroll down, we've got a job description. Now the job description is the details that you're going to send back to the office regarding the remedial works that have to be carried out to rectify what you found. So as you can see, I've just typed a job description to send back to the office. I don't need to change the job here that identifies which job I want to add this to, because it's the FRA survey. We're only adding penetrations as we find them. We don't need to do anything with that. So once you've completed the screen here, you would just simply press the next button. you now have the opportunity to add some ordered lines or sales codes or job lines or indeed SOR codes, depending on how you word those within your system. So to add an ordered line, we can click here on the Add button. And we can use the search bar at the top here. So for example, doing this will identify any SOR codes that contain those letters. So as I scroll down the list here, you can see we've got a match. So as you find an SOR code that you want to include, you select, you press the Add button. You can provide a location, so I'm going to put here ground floor kitchen, so it's obvious, and if there were more than one required, you can use the plus or minus buttons, of course, to adjust the quantities. We also allow you to take additional photos at this point should you wish. If you've made a mistake and you need to change the code, you can do so by clicking on the Change Code button, but provided you're happy with what you put in, you would just simply press on Done. And that line has now been added. If you do need to add further codes, you can do so by pressing the Add button, researching in this list, and then re-adding another code. I'm just going to press back for now and leave it on the 1 here. Once you've completed the ordered lines for this particular penetration that you found, you press Next. And this takes us back to the on-site menu. And what you'll notice now is that the on-site menu is showing still the one task, but it is no longer a site job. It is now a job for the penetration that we have just identified. So at this point, you would make your way to the next penetration that you've identified, press Add Job, press the Penetration Job button, and start the loop again. So completing the information here, pressing Next to go to the ordered lines, and then adding any ordered lines or SOR codes that you need to. So as you can see, I've now added a second penetration to this particular job. So we've now got 2 tasks here. Now at this point, let's assume that our job is done in terms of the survey. So what we would do now is we would click on to Finished. We can now provide a status of our job or our visit. So if we click on the drop down list, this was the survey job and I think that the survey is complete. So I would tick onto Survey Complete. If I wanted to add any further notes to this job, I could do by typing them in the notes field. Otherwise, I'd just press Next. You'll see a screen which summarises the time you've spent on the job. Of course, the time in mine is done in real time, like yours would be, and this is just a demo, so that's why you've only got 11 minutes showing there. We press Next, and then our engineer signs the screen. The screen, and then we press Next. There is a customer QA which could appear on your system. You may not have this switched on. If you do, you may even have the skip button. It depends if you are required to do this. I'm going to complete the customer QA as so, and then our customer would sign the screen as they always do, and you can get, of course, them to change their name, or they can change the signer type depending on whether they were present or not. So I'm going to say they weren't present. This has now done a dial, and if we now look at our Places to Go screen, the job has now been successfully sent back to the office. Now the job has been sent back to the office, so our work is done now in terms of the FRA survey. The office would then of course review your job, review the survey, and communicate with the client and agree what work is to be carried out. And once that has happened, a job for the remedial works would then be sent out to you. If you've got any questions about anything you've seen on this video, don't hesitate to give us a shout.